Well, thank you for joining us. We're here today with Pastor Ian Hodge, and what brought this interview about is a little while ago I was looking at my calendar from 2024 in planning out family ministries events for 2025, and I noticed that I had a notation that your first day, your official first day, was February 18th, 2024. Right. So here we are, exactly 1 year later.
Yep.
And we have a habit of interviewing staff, and just didn't do it with you. I think you just came in and hit the ground running and didn't have time. So after 1 year, we decided, hey, now we've got the time to force you to sit down and
yeah, sure.
It's part of the whole thing. So anyways, let's get into it. I have some questions for you, and just get to maybe know you a little bit better and what's been going on in this last year.
All right. Sounds good.
So when you drove into Carson City the first time during the interview process, and you were looking at it through the lens of we could be living here, what were your thoughts and impressions?
Well, so we drove in on I think it was a Sunday evening. I think we left right after church, and came up. And by the time we got here, winter, it was dark, and we drove in over. I think we came in over 88. So we missed all this incredible. We found out on the way back. We're like, oh, that was an incredible drive. What an amazing thing. And we came into the church had bought a hotel room for us, and the PNC or somebody had left a basket of these wonderful gifts for us, and we had kind of a double thought. On the one hand, it was, wow, this is a really wonderful welcome to receive, but we also thought, man, we're going to feel so bad if we say no. Like they're really inviting us in a wonderful way. So the next morning we woke up and we're like, why do our eyes hurt so badly? We realized it's because the air was so dry. We had to go get eye drops and do that. Now, year in, we're feeling more adjusted, but oh man, that was something to get used to. We met Dave Berger and Mary Burge and went out to breakfast, and man, they were great. And Kayla and I, we talked about it later, and about 10 minutes into breakfast, we knew we were going to say yes. It was clear that, yeah, this is what we thought it was, and we're really excited to do this. It was also closing a chapter in our lives, so that was an exciting and joyful realization, and also a sad realization at the same time. So as we drove home after that trip, after meeting so many people and poking around and seeing so much of Carson, I think we were excited. We were probably crying and doing all these other things at the same time. So it was really I think a moment that we'll remember all of our lives. It was a really important moment for us.
Yeah, very emotional.
Yeah,
that's neat to know. 10 minutes into breakfast, you were like, "This is it."
Yeah. We I think had a sense early on that we were hoping and we were expecting that this would work out, and like I said, especially since we left family behind,
right.
Kayla was really processing through that. And I remember one time I had looked something up. We said, "Oh, look at this great thing about Carson City." And Kayla said, "I already know it's a paradise. Stop it! I don't want to think about it."
Well, speaking of that, just going off on that, so you got to take a tour. You looked around the area with, I believe, Dave and Mary.
Yep.
So what were your impressions there of the whole area?
Well, the mountains, of course, we loved. We loved being so close to the mountains. We loved the dramatic views. It was different in that, in Central California, where we were coming from, it's brown for about 2/3 of the year, half to 2/3 of the year. But then in the winter, everything is green. The grass grows on all the hills turn green. There are wildflowers in the spring. So the colors took a little bit of adjustment when we got. And then I'm from Seattle originally, so nothing is green like Seattle is. But then we also thought this is a cool and very different sort of landscape to what we've known. We really enjoyed the history in the area, from our own sanctuary here at the church to we got to see the Indian school and the various things around town, get a sense of who and what had been here. We really enjoyed that. And then we also had this sense that even though 60,000 isn't a huge city by any means, Carson sort of punches above its weight in terms of the stores and the restaurants and all of the things that were here. We really loved immediately that the area right around the church, where that whole Capitol complex, and then the restaurants and shops along Carson and along Curry. So those are some of the things that struck us, and we looked at a few neighborhoods where we could possibly live, and we thought, wow, these would be so great. So we just were excited, I think, about everything, just about everything that we saw. The only thing that was a little hard was it wasn't as green as we were used to, but that is, living in the desert is a cool thing too.
It is. Yep. Well, sounds like you had great impressions of all of it. But you've lived here for a year now. Have any of your impressions changed? And if so, how? Or just gotten better?
Yeah, that's a good. I mean, we still driving home on a particularly beautiful evening or something, we'll just say, "Oh, it's so beautiful here. We just love it here. We love the city, love the people, love the surrounding areas. I love that I can go take a hike. I could walk to the trailhead if I wasn't so lazy. But I do drive to the trailhead and walk from there. And it feels like there's still a lot to explore. And as a matter of fact, I feel like we only are on the west side of town most of the time.
Right.
There are all these things on the east side we need to go check out still.
Well, I think you're kind of you're doing a good job of even like getting ahead of my questions. Maybe we're just, after a year, we're thinking
That's right.
alike, I don't know.
Sync,
But what are the best things about living in Carson City? You've mentioned like the stores, the restaurants, being able to hike.
Yeah, we love that everyth's close in Carson. When previous home, if we needed to go to Costco, it was a 25 mile drive. Everything was half an hour away. It felt like we were pretty isolated, and there was a lot that was good about that, but it's also almost a relief to feel like, if something goes wrong for dinner, we can always just, go grab something quick somewhere. It wasn't really an option previously. We love there's some really great places to go spend an evening, or on Saturday we thought, well, let's just go to the Nevada State Museum, and the Mint was running, and we hadn't seen that before, and so there's still lots to do and lots to explore. Now I think if I have to go to Reno for something, oh my gosh, I've got to drive all the way to Reno. And we used to do that 3 or 4 times a week, so I'm spending so much less on gas.
Nice. Well, and you've probably heard from the locals here, if you've complained about that. Oh, you should have been here before the freeway.
Yeah, I've heard that. Well, and I've also had several people tell me, you're a true Carsonite now. I feel like Reno's really far away. So
it is nice to have it there, because they have some different things to offer.
Yeah.
And but we're not Reno. I love the feeling of Carson City.
Yeah, I do too.
I'm sure you do too.
I do too. Yeah. So if anyone's watching from the city, if you want to use this for your tourism videos, absolutely go for it. So.
All right. Well, you came from a smaller church. What are the differences you've encountered at First Presbyterian, as well as the challenges and blessings, and what are you most excited about?
That's a great question. So I've been part of just about every size church church there is. I grew up in a church of 2,000 or more people. I've been to churches that are more in the 500 to 600 range, although I don't think I've formally attended one of those. And then Lemon Cove was between 30 and 80 in attendance while we were there. And then and here, about 150 to ish on a Sunday. So the big difference is, that we love this size of church. Both Kayla and I, we attended a church this size once before. Our first Presbyterian church, as a matter of fact, and it feels big enough that you've got some of the resources of a larger church. You can kind of dream a little bit bigger about some things. You can invite more people and have a little more influence in that way. But it's still small enough that relationship still drives the church. And we really love that. We really enjoy that. That said, I remember one of the questions the PNC asked is, so, the schedule will probably be different if you come here. I said, yeah, I know. I know that I won't really have free time to do stuff. And Barbara McSween, bless her heart, said, well, you'll have some free time. Like, it's going to be okay. But no, and actually, I love the busier pace and the faster pace. It helps me to be more effective. I know some people really thrive in that. I'm going to be 100% self-directed all the time, but having some commitments and some things that I need to be accountable for here in a bigger way has been really a gift. I think it makes me a better pastor, and I enjoy it more as well. And then the greater variety of gifts and of talents is both exciting to be part of, but also challenging to figure how do we bring all of those out. My philosophy of ministry is easy to do in a very small church where we say it's up to all of us to do this, but in a larger church, you have to work harder to give time and attention and to learn all of those things and to put them to work. So those are a couple of things. I love having a staff.
You're right on to my next question. Yeah. Having a full staff has been a big change. Tell us your thoughts on that.
Yeah.
So there you go.
I work best collaboratively. So just from a purely me-focused perspective, I work better with the staff. And then I love, and you'll have to tell me or, tell everyone else how I'm doing, but I love helping to develop the gifts in others. It's part of why I've worked with ordination candidates in ECO ever since I was ordained myself, is because I love helping people discover their gifts and put them to work. And so I am still figuring that out in some ways a year in. You can probably testify to that as well. But that's been great. Every Monday, I think I see just about everyone on the staff in a one-on-one sort of way, and we talk about how's it going, and try and make it both about work and about the people too. How are you doing, and what do you need, and how can we encourage you? So, yeah, in a later interview, you can tell everyone how that's going.
Well, I will say you have challenged me.
Yeah.
And I do. I'm going to say this, and I'm not throwing you under the bus. I do often leave his office in tears, but that's not. That's not a reflection on you. It's just there's a lot of I don't know, building and reflection going on. Good stuff.
Yeah, well, and I do sometimes say if I haven't made somebody cry today, I haven't done my job yet. But hopefully they're tears of joy.
All right. Well, let's pivot a little bit. You've got a vision board in your office.
Yes, I do.
What do you hope to see in FPC's future?
Yeah. So there are a couple of things. First of all, I think that when we talk about vision in a church or any organization, it needs to be something that's organic, and it doesn't come from outside and is forced upon an organization or upon people. So the best vision is the one that everyone buys into. And so over the last year in session and in some other places, we've been having conversations related to vision. If you're wondering what vision's all about, vision is what do we think our church should look like? What do we want our church to look like? And ultimately, what is God calling our church to be in 5 to 10 years? So if we've been faithful to our mission of opening the gospel to Carson City and beyond, how will our church have changed? What would a snapshot, a picture of the church be? And for me, I know I get to bring part of that with my own leadership. And the things that I see in that vision are, it's a place where people get to ask whatever question they want, and we get to have real conversations about it. There's nothing that's off limits. It's a place where we can have the hardest conversations. You know, a couple of Sundays ago, we were talking about how Jesus said, you need to love each other. That's the commandment I'm giving you. That's how everyone will know if you're my disciples. And he said, there's some hard conversations that we're having right now, especially around politics. And if we can't do those in a conversation that is imbued with love for each other, then maybe we need to not have those conversations. But that's only for the moment, right? Unity doesn't look like silence. It doesn't look like, well, we just won't talk about the things that are hard. Unity looks like no matter how hard the conversation is, we can have it together because we are united in Jesus Christ. And He will lead us to some sort of agreement in that place. And that doesn't mean everyone just says and thinks the same thing all the time. That's the beauty of a body. A body is always encouraging each member to grow and to think about things more deeply and to be different. So there's, being able to have any conversation, being able to ask any question. And wouldn't that be wonderful? You know, you think about the way our world works at the moment, and it's not like that. We can't have any conversation. There are not safe spaces for us to have all of those conversations. And safe spaces look like strength in each individual that we can have any conversation, and kindness in each individual that everyone is welcome to that conversation as well. So that's part of it. But it's also people meeting Jesus. You know, that the best parts of our church are the parts that aren't here yet. Not because the parts that are already here, the people that are already here, aren't great and aren't wonderful, but because God is always leading us into an exciting future. So I keep saying, part of that vision is what I keep saying, our best days are still ahead of us. That constant excitement about the future, not to the exclusion of the present. But I can see you're thinking we're turning into a book here, Ian. I have another question for you.
No, not at all. No, I mean, this is, we want to get to know what's on your mind, so it's totally fine.
Yeah.
So.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's more. Like I said, this isn't something that just comes from me, but these are the pieces I think that I want to contribute. And the things that I already see here in place are the way that we are good at loving each other in this place. And I think we really want to love new people coming into this place as well. And so that's something, I don't need to invent. It's already here, and it's a component of that vision as well. So we're trying to find a way to describe that. With the session, we're trying to find a way to describe all of these things and more. That is maybe one sentence where we can give people that picture right away and say, this is what we're looking to be and to become, how our mission is going to shape us, how the Holy Spirit is going to shape us, and who God desires us to be.
When you're taking it seriously, that vision board's been there for a while. You're not trying to rush through it and just get an answer. You're looking for a genuine, where is God directing us in this? Yeah,
and honestly, I feel bad that it's been there that long and it's still not done. And I'm not sure that's a holy part of me. I'd like to get to the end, but But you're right. We have to wait until we have to let God do His work in His time and receive that as it comes. So, and it's okay if we're not there yet. We're still in a good place. I know it's been a hard year in a lot of ways, but I mean, for us, it's been an exciting year. And I think that's not just for us. I think it's for all of us, too.
Sure. All right, well, that was pretty deep. Let's go a little bit lighter, okay? Yeah. Let's go a little lighter. So, where would you take a visitor if they came in, they'd not been to Carson City or the area? Where would you take them to see, to experience, to eat?
Yeah, that's a fun question. I like that. So, when we've had family and friends come into town, the things that we have been sure to do, we've gone to the Nevada State Museum. We've come here to the church. We want everyone to see what's such a big part of our lives and what we're excited about. We do take a loop up to Lake Tahoe, so we'll drive up Highway 50, right? I'm terrible with all of our numbers here, and go up to Incline. There's a little park, not just before Sand Harbor. I think there's a little kind of viewpoint park with some trail there, and we'll stop and show people Tahoe, and then drive over Mount Rose back down into Reno and into Carson. And then we've taken folks to Virginia City, which has been a lot of fun. We just sent out, Valentine to everybody with the kids on the back. They're at Virginia City at the Old West show that's up there. A lot of people have said, yeah, if I had a magnifying glass, I definitely could have seen that. So those have been some of the highlights, and then. We really enjoy Great Basin as a stop for everybody to eat, and I'm trying to think if there's a more like Carson-y restaurant that we like to take them to as well. We like the Fox too, but we think the food's a little better at Great Basin. Sorry, if you're into Fox or something. But,
personal preference. It's okay. You can have a personal preference. Yeah. Well, where have you not gone yet that you want to see?
Yeah, there's still some of those places, definitely. I mentioned spent a lot of time on the west side of town. We'd love to spend some more time on the east side of town, hike all over Prison Hill and look at the wetlands over there. I keep thinking maybe I'll get Dave Berger to take us birding over in that spot. Sounds like a great place to do that. More broadly, Nevada is such an interesting state. I did go to Great Basin National Park in October with a friend of mine. We did some hiking there and driving Highway 50 and realizing you got to watch your gas gauge because you don't know where the next gas station is.
Right.
And so we've thought about maybe we'll take a trip around the state where we try and hit several different northern Nevada sorts of play, the Ichthyosaur State Park and get up to Elko and Pyramid Lake. We haven't gotten to go to those places, so yeah, that's I was saying to Kayla the other day, we haven't scheduled any other vacation time yet for this year, and if I don't schedule it now, we may not take any vacations. So we're trying to think of, and suggestions are very welcome if anyone wants to make them.
Yeah, all right. Well, definitely doing Highway 50, the loneliest road in America.
Yeah.
Long car trip might be a little difficult on the kids, but there are some interesting things. You can hit Fort Churchill, which is very close. You can day trip that. The Ichthyosaur Park, that's a lot of fun. So, yeah, you'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Everybody will have a great suggestion for you. All right. I'm not flattering you here. I'm being honest. You're an amazing cook.
Oh.
And I know this from personal experience. He makes a lamb dish that, if you don't like lamb, you've got to try his lamb dish. It's astounding. But you've also joined several fellow meat smokers.
Yes.
Right? So when are we going to have an FPC block party and barbecue?
I think as soon as possible. You know, I'd be all over that. We've talked with some of the other big grillers and smokers around, and I don't think there's been quite the impetus to 100% make it happen yet. But my message is, whoever wants to plan that event, I'll cook whatever you want. I'd be really excited to be part of that.
Yeah. Well, we have summer coming up, so I think we need to get on it.
Yeah, that would be fun. And the great thing is, most of these guys who are into smoking, they're so excited about it, they'll probably buy all of their own stuff.
They do tend to, yes.
Yeah, we'll have to put out a tip jar or something like that to help recoup some of the costs.
I do think those of you who enjoy smoking meats have a sort of a network for finding out when something good is on sale.
Yeah.
And check those things
Yeah,
out.
I've taken pictures in the supermarket or wherever before and sent them off to people like, look, it was a good price on this. So
I know.
Yeah.
When you were at the national gathering, my husband says, Ian texted me.
Yeah.
I'm like, he's my boss, he texted you. And he's like, and I haven't even seen the pictures, like, yes, he was at a barbecue place.
That's right. I really
So we
appreciate it.
haven't made it to Texas for barbecue. I have, he and I have not. So they have some good joints there. But
Yeah.
I don't think much tops what we have here. We've got some amazing cooks.
Absolutely.
So enjoy that. All right. Well, I have one more question for you. Back to a little bit more serious, but I think it's a fun one too. What's the current Bible verse that you're reflecting on?
Yeah, so you gave me some warning on that one. And when you are preaching, you do get to reflect pretty deeply on Scripture. And so each week there's always something new. Now, so far this week I haven't started preparing for Sunday, but there is that. So John has been much on my mind. But the big thing I wanted to share with people is I saw a couple of books by Trevin Wax. He's a good guy, he's Reformed, and he's put together the Gospels and Paul and maybe some other books in 30 days. So you can read all of Paul's New Testament letters in 30 days, and he's divided them up into 3 readings each day, morning, afternoon, and evening. Now, I'm probably more on the Paul in 45 to 50 days track. That's okay. I've decided that's all right. We're busy. But I really love those. I'd recommend them. And they're organized not just as reading Scripture, but as kind of a whole liturgy or a whole litany for you to do, from a call to worship to a confession of sin, and a lot of the parts of the liturgy that are really familiar to us here. And I really appreciate that, because I'm so often trying to teach and to create teaching on my own that it can be hard to get out of that. And so allowing somebody else to provide that format for me and to read through it's been really cool. So this morning I was just reading 1 Corinthians 1 and 2, and 1 Corinthians, this is so cliche because I say this about every part of the Bible, but 1 Corinthians is one of my very favorite books in the whole Bible, and I love reading about how God has chosen to frustrate, to make empty the wisdom of the world by choosing the weak and the foolish things. And it gives me assurance, because I feel weak and foolish all the time. I have imposter syndrome, just like lots of folks. And so I really appreciate that reminder, and then I have a few memory verses up on my kind of devotional board in my office right now, and one of them is, if anyone is in Christ, he is a new creation. The old is gone, and the new has come. No matter how badly I may have messed things up, or whether it was sin or just a human sort of error, being reminded that I'm brand new. I can start over. My past doesn't define me, except for the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ. Those are in my past, and they make my future. All
right. Very good. Thank you for sharing that. And thank you for being here today.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah, it was a lot. You're easy to interview.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun, and I wouldn't mind if we did this again, just shorter maybe, just little conversations with Ian. I think that you have a lot to share that people would like to hear. That obviously we get to hear that on Sundays and during your Bible study, but I do know that every week we have people say thank you for sending things out, and so just to get that little bit of, oh, there's a little bit of wisdom.
Yeah. Speaking of things that we need to share, I need to share my trumpet article with Margot before I get in big trouble. So I better go do that.
I got mine in 6 days early.
Yeah. Oh man.
6 days early, and it's a written. There's 2 pictures that go along with the written word on it. So occasionally I have to throw that out there just to mess with Stuart, basically.
Yeah, I know you and Stuart have a thing going. So mine's just more of the frantic. I gotta get it done. So
that's generally where I am.
Yeah.
So at any rate, thank you so much, and we'll see you again another time.
Yeah.
All
sounds
right.
good. Thanks, Sherry.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.